Here's a huge mindset shift that completely altered the way that I see myself. You are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. I'll repeat it one more time because this is so important. You are not your thoughts. Without noticing, we often attach ourselves to the endless stream of thoughts that flow through our mind. We never really question the validity or the truth of these thoughts. We just assume that they must be true because we hear them all day. Every single second of every single day, we hear our little inner voice. And most of us can't even imagine living without this inner voice basically narrating your life play by play. And this is the voice of the ego. The voice in your head constantly criticizes, judges, and tries to compare you to other people. It tries to tell you stories about the past, stories about the future. It wants to make you feel inferior or superior to other people. It always wants to compare and tell you that you're not good enough in this moment, which is just a lie that it always tells you. And the negative thoughts that we think and cling to are really the main causes, or at least one of the main causes, of our psychological suffering. And I know that this is the case for me. When I was dealing with various mental health issues, anxiety and depression, I had an extremely difficult time really quieting my mind, and it's a problem that we all have. And I couldn't really deal with the barrage of negative thoughts that were barreling down my mind, trying to break my spirit. And I felt helpless. I didn't think that there was a way to combat this. And it's very paradoxical, but you don't fight negative thoughts by treating them negatively. You have to show them their opposite, which is love and compassion. And they absolutely hate this. And I know that you might think that this sounds counterintuitive, and it absolutely is. But this is what I've found to work for me over time. So I'm just trying to share what has worked for me. You don't have to believe it if you don't want. Maybe try it and see if it works for you. But understand that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And this is a huge mindset shift to make that has really just helped me so much in dealing with my mental health and also transcending really who I thought I was. I'll get more to that later, but making this mindset shift and really from being your thoughts to being the observer of your thoughts is extremely liberating and life-changing. And you're never going to see yourself in the same light again. I know that I don't. I used to really limit myself, and I used to try to dim my light, and the light that you are shines far brighter and is far more powerful than any single thought. All thoughts are going to do is trap you in a tiny box and try to basically trick you into thinking that you're finite, try to trick you into thinking you're limited, and try to really tear you down. And as much as they can try to do it, they're never going to be able to do it. Because even if you're not aware of it right now, deep down, you know who you really are, you know who you are, you know that you are the observer of your thoughts, and you know that you are not your thoughts. When you have this realization and you make this mindset shift, you start to detach from your thoughts and view them more objectively. You stop judging every single thought as being right or wrong, and you just view them as they are. You allow them to be exactly as they are in this present moment. And this is definitely a step in the right direction of showing them love and compassion. I really like to compare my thoughts to a hurricane. I think this is a useful kind of analogy that other people can take and try to use this in their own life. And your thoughts, like a hurricane, are extremely powerful. They're always moving in circles around and around and around in the ocean of your mind. Your mind can be compared to an ocean. And there's usually always a hurricane brewing somewhere in your infinite ocean that is your mind. Your mind is literally infinite, all the thoughts that you could ever think. And when you view yourselves as your thoughts, you mistake yourself for being this hurricane. And so you get caught up in it, and you wonder why you feel so out of control. You wonder why you feel so chaotic. And when you cling to this hurricane and try to resist it, you are literally feeding it with your attention and awareness. Think about this. If there was a hurricane going on in the world outside of you, and you tried to fight it either with your fists or tried to fight it by telling it that it sucked and that it should go away, I mean, that just sounds silly to think about, but that is literally how we try to deal with the hurricane that's going on in our mind. And understand that you're going to be, if you're feeding it negative energy, that's what it feeds on. It feeds on your attention and your awareness. It feeds on negative energy. And the more attention that you give your thoughts, the more power they're going to have over you and the more power they're going to have over your life. And the more you can detach and simply witness them without judgment, which I know is hard to do, the more you start to drain this hurricane of its power, and you take the power back because you're the one who gave it power in the first place. You're the one who gave your thoughts, the hurricane of your thoughts, life in the first place by feeding it your energy and attention and awareness. And I know this is definitely hard to do because I know for me, the first 20 years of my life, I had no idea about this. So it takes a lot of time to really reprogram your mind and get these bad habits and bad attitudes and whatever false realizations out there. But it's definitely possible. It just takes kind of patience and consistency. While it may sound simple in theory, how do you actually detach from this hurricane of thoughts? I would say first, you really want to understand what your true location is in this hurricane. And your true location is that you're in the eye of the storm in your mind. And you're always in the center, basically observing this chaos as it unfolds. And as you probably know, the eye of the hurricane is the calmest place to be. Here, where the winds are the lightest, and it's really far easier to maintain your equanimity, inner peace, mental stability, whatever you want to call it. Know that you are always in the center. And that's how I interpret this cliche phrase you probably all heard, that's be centered or stay centered. And this is what I think it truly means. You are always in the center of your mind. You're always in the middle of this hurricane as it swirls and swirls around you. And you can just sit there detached, calm, and know that you're always going to be safe. You're always going to be fine because you're in the calmest part of the storm. And your mind is going to try to take you where it goes. It's going to try to take you to the most far out places that you could have never imagined and all these fantasy lands. And it's only going to be able to do this if you give it permission, if you allow it. And these thoughts are limiting. These thoughts are going to try to trap you in a box. And one of the tricks they try to tell you is they try to tell you that you are them. They try to give you your sense of identity and your sense of worth. But it's far easier to not get swept up in this hurricane of thoughts when you realize who you truly are, that you aren't these thoughts, that you aren't the hurricane, but you are the observer, you are in the eye. And I know it may not seem like thoughts can really take you to fantasy lands that you never existed, but we're so wrapped up in this that we believe these fantasy lands to be true. But these fantasy lands are just stories about the past or about the future that your mind tells you, and they're not true. You know they're not true because the only thing that is true is right now, right here in this present moment. Being in true reality, being in the present means being with your true self, who is the observer, not your thoughts. You are the one who observes it all happening. So, how do you become the observer? It's not something that comes instantly. It's not something that comes overnight if you spent your entire life, like I did, up to this point clinging to your thoughts, thinking that you are actually your thoughts, and getting your sense of self, getting your sense of validation or worth from them. And one practice that I started that greatly helped me in basically overcoming this and detaching from your thoughts, being the observer, is meditation. And I've always said this, that when I meditated for the first time, I could only do it for 5 to 10 seconds. And I realized how much work I truly had to do to basically detach from my thoughts and really be this observer and really maintain my equanimity, inner peace, mental clarity, whatever you want to call it. And there seemed to be 10 hurricanes going on at the same time. If you've never meditated before, the first time you do it, you're going to understand what I'm saying, is that you're not going to realize you're going to realize for the first time how you've just been ignoring all these storms going on in your mind. And because you've been caught up in them. They've been taking you for a ride. This is literally what you're like in your mind, but you don't think so. You think that you're always just calm and centered, but that's not it. So when I stayed patient on this journey, I could go next time for 30 seconds, and then a minute, then 2, then 3, then 5, and over time it became easier. I built up slowly with discipline, consistency, and patience, and I know these aren't things that we like to hear because we've been trained to want everything right now, right now, right now. We always want to find that magic pill that's going to basically save us, but it's really as simple as just sitting down for 10 minutes and just breathing, realizing that you aren't your thoughts and witnessing them non-judgmentally, so you stop feeding them your energy and attention, and you're feeding yourself your awareness of the present moment and all the love that's always here with your energy, which in turn is going to make it so you're basically more in the present. When you're meditating, you realize that right now is all there ever is and all there ever will be. It's all there ever was. You've always been here right now. And all these stories of the past and the future that your mind tells you, your mind really wants to get you to go somewhere else because it doesn't want you to be right here, right now, because right here, right now, the ego doesn't exist. I know it's a crazy thing to think about, but you literally can't think about it because your thinking is part of the ego. And it's going to want to take you to the past and to the future through telling you all these stories and to try to get to take you away from this moment, away from your attention in the present, and go there. And understand that these are all just stories. It's your choice whether to believe them or not. But the more you believe them, the more you tell your mind basically that it's okay to keep telling you these stories and telling you these lies. And sure, these lies or stories are entertaining and captivating because that's why we listen to them in the first place. But when these stories and lies become the cause of your suffering, when they're really giving you these limiting beliefs that are stopping you from being your true self and expressing your true love with the world, when are you going to decide to take your power back from them as the observer? When are you going to decide to detach from this hurricane and simply be the witness to it all in the eye? And that's the place where you have the most love, the place where you have the most power. As the observer of your thoughts, your attention is your most valuable possession. Your attention is your most valuable possession. You can choose to put your attention on anything. You have free will. You can choose to focus on anything. And one of the aims of meditation is really to help you focus your attention on an anchor point. It can be a breath, or it can be your breath, or it can be a mantra. It can literally be anything. But when you're clinging to your thoughts, when you're attached to them, you're limiting yourself. You're trapping yourself in a box and you're missing just so much that's going on in reality. So stop letting your attention get fragmented as it gets caught in the hurricane of thoughts. When your attention gets caught in this hurricane of thoughts, you're basically taking something that could be single pointed and you're basically dispersing it into a million different directions. And understand that when you're dispersing it into a million different directions, the power of your attention, the power of your intention, your energy is spread thin. It gets a lot weaker. So you can start to gather it and really be in the eye. And when you detach and you observe it all, you realize all of the power that you truly have inside you that you were just giving to your thoughts. You were kind of just wasting it by feeding these false illusions and false narratives. So remember this. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. Never forget that. It's a huge mindset shift to make. It completely altered my life. Would definitely recommend meditation, but everybody has their own ways to really realize this and to kind of detach from their thoughts. So do whatever works for you. I'm just sharing meditation because that is something that has really helped me along my journey. And remember, be kind to yourself. You know who you are. My name is Ari. Thank you for watching this video. Give me the thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe down below. I'm going to be making more videos like this about personal development, spirituality, and psychology. Again, have a great day. Peace and love.